All right, this evening we have a special guest. It's Matt Lesniewski. You may, if you followed the blog for a couple of years, you may recognize the name. I first interviewed him back in 2017 after one of the other local creators that we both know, TJ Kirsch, told me he was somebody I should check out, and then he was one of the artists at the 2017 Electric City Con back when we had cons and we were allowed to gather with a bunch of people. And recently his book, his graphic novel The Freak, got him a Eisner nomination. So without further ado, let me just go ahead and bring Matt in, and we'll see what he's been up to and see what's going on. How's it
Hey,
going,
what's up,
Matt?
Chad? Pretty good.
So,
Pretty good.
good. So one of the first, and I know that we kind of covered this back in 2017, but do you remember, your first exposure to comic books, or which one that kind of got you interested in them?
Well, comics were always around because my dad was a comic book fan, and he had a collection of his own, and so I never got into comics. They were always just around. And I was always drawn to the art because before I could even read, I was always seeing them around the house. And my dad, he draws too. And so I just naturally got into it. Not even got into it. It's like I was born into it. Like he just always had it around. And I don't remember getting into it. I was naturally drawn to it. And but if I had to remember one of the earliest comics that left an impression on me, it was probably a detective comics, like Kelly Jones. I'm remembering the cover. It was like Batman, but he was possessed.
Was it during
or
the
something.
Nightfall?
Yeah.
Was it during Nightfall, or
I'm pretty sure.
I think looking back, it was the one where it's Jean-Paul Valley in the bat suit, and he's like has the board with the two nails, and he's getting ready to club the bad guy.
Yeah. And then Robin is in the background, and he's like horrified. I was just fascinated by that cover because I also grew up on the Batman animated series around the same time, and seeing that, they were just night and day, and it was a different take on these characters that you already knew and loved, but which might have might have been an influence on me in the way that I do commissions. Because now that I think of it, because my first instinct is always to think about my own way of interpreting these popular characters, or I never want to just do the status quo or what you might expect. And that thinking back on it, that might have played a part in it. So,
and I think that's one of the things that kind of, just over the years watching you do your drawings and, over Instagram, is just your unique style. And I remember when we talked about antique, I kind of said that, your type of style kind of reminded me of Jeff Lemire.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I was actually at Excellent Adventures, the comic book store, and I actually picked up some Jeff Lemire. I'll just show you what I got. Why not?
Sure.
I got the Scumbag.
Oh yeah.
This was really good. I really enjoyed this. I'll just make this quick. I'm really bad at this. Two Jeff Lemire comics.
Yeah.
And then I found, these were really cool finds. Speaking of favorite artists, Richard Corbin, he's one of my favorites. I think he's one of my bigger influences. I mean, that continues to change. You're interest in things comes and goes, but I don't know. I was just surprised to see these. They were only like
Yeah.
$3, and
Nice.
full color. I just love his stuff. And then I got the Tom Scioli. Big fan of him too. And I first found him a couple years ago with the GoBots comic.
Yes.
And I just
When,
saw. I had no idea who he was. I just saw it on the shelf, and the cover instantly grabbed my attention because it was just so different. And I was like, "Wait, who's this guy? This is." I'm not into GoBots at all, or Transformers, or any of that, but just his art and the way he was doing comics in general, it instantly just grabbed me, and I was like, "Oh, who's this guy?" And so ever since,
very, very Kirby-esque. Well, that's
yeah,
his whole, he's,
true,
very into
true.
Kirby,
Mm-hmm.
Style. So when did you first, say, all right, I love to draw, let me try to make my own comic book?
Well, the very first one, I don't remember the exact age. It had to be before 10. And that wasn't me doing it in a serious way. That was just kind of, I love comic books, and I'm like, oh, hey, I want to do my own. And it was just like a little, probably less than 10 pages. And I remember it was, I just did it in pencil and colored pencils for the colors. And I don't remember the name of the guy, but he was essentially a Green Arrow ripoff, except when he shot arrows, they were like fire.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember even what the story was, and I don't remember his name, but that was one of the earliest attempts. So I did try it really early on. It had to be, like I said, before I was 10 at least. And then when I first tried it in a serious way, like, oh, I'm really gonna, because comic book artist was actually like all through high school. They're as the years go on, they keep asking like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Like, you're gonna go to college? Do you have plans? And I always just had that in the back of my mind, like, I'm gonna draw comics. I'm gonna draw for Nickelodeon, or
Mm-hmm.
or for video games, or I always had drawing in my mind. Like, I just knew I was always the artist kid. Like, everyone, like, a lot of people have stories of being discouraged. Like, no, you got to get a real job, and which I've had plenty of real jobs, but from the earliest age, I was always encouraged. Like, I don't have the story of, don't do that, you're never going to make any money, or don't do that, you give up your dreams. Like, everyone was telling me, no, you have to do that. Like, that's who you are. You should do that. And if anything, I was the one more kind of, because I want to say around middle school, I just stopped drawing altogether. I don't know. I just lost interest. And then around high school, got back into it, but not in a serious way. I just kind of doodling back of the class. I was that guy, and somehow passed. But then after high school, it had to be, well, I'm really going on a tangent here, but I'm getting to the answer. It was probably by the time I was 19, 20, or 21 maybe, is when I was, well, actually the earliest effort, real, like, I'm going to take this serious. I was just sending samples out, like doing three page or 5 page like test pages, and just sending them to all different publishers, pretty much never getting anything back, or they'd get back to me and say, oh, it looks like you got some talent, but keep going. And that just went on. And then I do it, I do same thing, but I would do it with other writers. Like, I would team up with a writer and do like a 5 page pitch, 10 page pitch. Never worked out. Just kept doing that. And then along the way, I'm like, oh, I kind of want to try writing my own. And then I think the first, well, I don't want anyone to look it up because it's so terrible, but it started off like a 3-page thing where I just wrote my own. I'm like, I just got the idea for a 3-page comic where I'm writing, drawing, and lettering it. Did that, and I was shocked that I did it, that I just pulled it off. Like, and then just from accomplishing that, I was like, oh, actually, I can think of 2 more pages. There's more to this story, which is kind of how The Freak was done too. And then it turned into a full one-shot, which some people will know the book I'm talking about, but I'm not going to name it because it's horrible. But
I was going to say, but I won't.
yeah. We don't need to. The people who know. It'll be an Easter egg. But that's how The Freak, which you mentioned in the beginning, that's how that started out. I kept thinking, I had this idea of a guy who, well, I just got the image of the guy. Like, I just pictured the character, and I don't know where it came from. Am I rambling too much? Or I don't know. I'm just kind of like.
No, you're fine.
Oh, okay.
No.
Look, just one thought is leading to another. Like, this is just kind of the progression of how everything kind of happened. And so, and then I got this. I'll just kind of sum it up. I got the picture of the character, and then the story somehow came at the same time, but it's like there were 2 separate things. But somehow, I don't remember how I did it, but they just sort of merged and they fit perfectly. Like, I didn't think of them as one thing. It just, I saw the image of the freak, the character, and there was no story to him. But then the story of the freak, somehow that was a separate thing, and then somehow they came together, and so I started doing that, and where was I going with that? Oh yeah, at first it was just a one-shot. That's all I was picturing. But then when I finished that, I realized, no, there's way more to this story. And then it turned out to be 3 issues worth of story. And really it's just one graphic novel, but 3 chapters. So that's sometimes when people will ask me, like, oh, advice, you know, I want to do comics, but I have no idea where to start, or I have no idea. It's like a maze where you don't even know where the entrance is. And my thing is always start small, like I did, because that's what worked for me. So maybe it worked for you. Just do a 3-page comic. That's it. Like, everyone looks at what they think as successful. Like, oh, you got to do a 10-page or 10-issue, you know, hundreds of pages series. They're looking at most people look at what they think of as the finish line, or where they want to be. And it's like, just do baby steps. Like, start out a 3-page comic, do that. And just by accomplishing that, you might think of another 2 pages. You might get the idea for another 3-page comic. Start small, then do a 10-page and just build up. And that's what worked for me. So
kind of let it grow organically.
Yeah. And you kind of, and the more you do it, the more you learn, the more, hopefully, the better you get at it. And I don't know, practice makes perfect. So,
and right here on the screen, we have one of your drawings of the freak.
Yes, that's from the last chapter, the 3rd chapter of the book.
That looks like it took a lot of time.
Yeah, probably. I don't remember. It was like 2 years ago when I was drawing that. The first, because I did the first, like I said, at first all I thought it was a one-shot. And that probably altogether took me to write it and draw it and everything. That probably took me at least 2 months, if I'm being honest. But I wasn't, rushing it. When I got to that book, here's another thing that changed. Like I had like a mindset switch that like something went off because I kept doing these comics and nothing was really working out. It wasn't getting me anywhere. Just
Mm-hmm.
and they also weren't very good, so that's probably part of what it was. But I had this shift in mindset, like I'm gonna draw this in a way that it's undeniably good, which nothing is undeniably good. Everything in art is a matter of opinion. It's all
Mm-hmm.
subjective. I'm sure plenty of people think it's terrible, but which is fine. But that's I think when you're making something with that mindset, it definitely makes a change. And even if I wanted to do it in a way that even if people don't like it, they'd have to sit back and respect it. Like, oh wow, he really drew this thing. Like I can tell he put his soul into this. And because I mean
Yeah.
that's the stuff that resonates with me. Like I want to feel what you were trying to communicate. And it was also part of the mindset was like no excuses. This is going to be good. I'm going to make people notice this. Even if they don't
Mm-hmm.
like it, they're going to see it and at least respect it. So,
Well, I think you certainly accomplished that. Were you surprised when
oh
you
yeah.
were named as one of the nominees?
Now, it might not sound like I would have been, but I was. I was completely blown away. Just because I was going in with that mindset doesn't mean I believed it. It was just
Mm-hmm.
part of doing this for so many years. I mean, I haven't been doing that long, but after years of doing it and nothing really working out, you have to kind of at a certain point you have to also talking about mindsets, you also have to kind of be in denial. Like you have to just keep convincing yourself, no, this is going to work out. This is leading somewhere, even though it doesn't seem to be. And so part of that, oh, it's going to be undeniably good. I was just half of that was just convincing myself that um, convincing myself that it was going to work out, or it was going to get noticed. But with the Eisner thing, I'm still shocked. Like that, I still don't believe it. And I remember the day. I don't remember what day it was, but I remember the day Chris Pitzer emailed me. He's the publisher from Ad House, who published The Freak, and he emailed me saying, "Oh, hey, the Eisners are accepting like submissions. So, do you want me to submit this?" And I just thought, like, yeah, okay, like it's like it's like dropping a drop of water in the ocean. Like, yeah, see if they notice. that's that that's the that's what I thought when he emailed me with that. And I when I got the email saying uh, it was nominated, I couldn't believe it. I seriously, I still don't. So the fact that I didn't win, in no way am I upset about that. It just the fact that never in my you know the career that I imagined for myself, never along the whole span of that would I ever have imagined. Like even if I continued to do this, 20, 30 years, I never imagined I ever would have been nominated. Not even winning. Just so I hope that explains how I feel about that. So, yeah. Oh, I think you're muted.
Dave, can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, you're good.
I think my microphone must be shutting off, but because it happened the other night too.
Hmm.
Now you recently were part of the Dagger Kickstarter. How did you and and you hooked me up with the guy who was in charge of that, and we had a great conversation. And so, how did you come to be part of that project?
The artist, it was two artists who were kind of, uh, you know, putting the whole thing together. It was Matt Emons or Emmons.
Yep.
I've only ever read his name, so I haven't met him in real life. And then Al Gofa. But he was the one who, I think we were messaging each other. I don't remember what it was about. And then um, he just asked me. He just said, "Oh, hey, we're doing this anthology," and there were already, I want to say, altogether there were, in total there's like 18 people, 17, something like that.
Yeah.
And at that point there was already like 12, so it was already fully, in the works. And he just asked me, and all the people who were on it are so talented and some amazing artists, and I was honored to even be asked. So
Yeah.
I remember the day that I came up with the story, I just drank a whole bunch of coffee. I sat down with my laptop, and I just got the idea instantly. I don't know where it came from, but I just started typing and wrote it all in one day. Which I don't know how good it is, but I think it's okay. I think it's some of my best work, honestly. But yeah, definitely excited for that. A lot of great artists. Definitely, if you're watching this, check that out I think it should be out by the end of the year, I hope.
Yeah.
My story's done, so I'm not sure. It'll be out soon. Definitely keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, definitely will. And it was it was kind of a great conversation talking to the one guy and about the project and how he kind of as like we had. I found out about your project because I know one of the I know I've talked to one of the artists that's working on your project. Well, we've talked a couple times.
Nice.
And kind of shifting gears, I remember that it was back in January of 2019 that you were doing the book interview up in Saratoga, and you asked me, but I had something else to do that weekend, and so I hooked you up with my friend C-Mart from the Angry Geeks, not Angry Geeks,
Yeah.
not Angry Geeks. That's
Evil
another
Geeks
show.
or something.
Evil Geeks,
Podcast.
Evil Geeks, yeah.
Evil Geeks. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I had a chance to listen to that interview, and that seemed like there was a really fun time for
I was, believe it or not, I mean, people didn't see it, how nervous I was before this, but I was 10 times more nervous for that. Like we were in the back of, we were like in this back storage room before it started, because it was live in front of, it wasn't that many people. It might have been 10 people who showed up, but it could have been one. I still would have been nervous because it's being recorded. And I was back there, we were both back there, and I was telling him, like, "Oh man, I'm so nervous. Like, oh God." Like, that had to have been one of the top 5 most nerve-wracking things I've ever done. But it went. Once it got started, it wasn't too bad. So
yeah. I was just kind of scrolling through your Instagram account and looking at for some of my favorite pictures that I noticed, and I found one of them. It's the let me just bring it up. Yeah, it's one of the HeMan characters. Right. I can't remember Crab
Yeah,
Face or I can't remember his
Clawful.
name.
I think his name's
Yeah,
Clawful. I
yeah.
wasn't even aware of that guy until I got asked to draw him, and he was such a cool character. He's just like a claw guy. Like, I mean, that's pretty cool to me. I mean, he's just got this giant claw arm, and then he's also got the mace thing. Even the toy, like the old He-Man toy of him, it's more of a simple take on it, but super cool. There's this one guy. I don't know if he wants me to mention his name, but he super cool guy. I've seen him at conventions and stuff, and he got like all the He-Man characters for me almost. Like,
Hmm.
and that was super cool. Like, always been a fan. Um, yeah,
And yeah, you have a with some, again, as you were saying, you have your, you like to take whatever you're commissioned and do, kind of your take on it. This is another one I like. It's the Batman.
yeah. Yeah, that one.
So how long does it take you to do something like that?
That one. Usually, it would take me at least a day.
Hmm.
Um, but recently, I've been doing them a little differently. Like it's gone through phases. Like there was the clawful one. That was like I'd call that phase one, where I did most of them 9x12, a few of them 11x17, and I would offer, or I would if people emailed me, hey, I want a commission, I would give them the option, hey, I will do a background for this much, but then, and that's phase one, but it just kind of took more time than I wanted it to, because I just wanted to devote uh, all my creativity to comics.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm still like that, but, and then, so then it went to what I'll call phase two, which this one is from that. And I just stopped doing the backgrounds, and I would get them done um, a day tops. Like I didn't want to spend any more than that on it. But I recently started doing them with Inky Knuckles, and it's a art dealer. He does like
Hmm.
all my Cam from Inky Knuckles. He does all my original art for my comics too. And we were just before I started doing them with him. We were just talking like, oh, what do you want to do? And so now I'm kind of doing bigger stuff and more backgrounds. Like one of the most recent ones was a Spider-Man, and that one took me 2.5 days. Like just a full day of doing nothing but that, pretty much, besides eating and normal human bodily functions. And like the background and everything, it's just full of ink. So
Yeah.
it's definitely more time consuming.
Now you work on you don't work digitally, do you?
No, there was one year where I actually did, like
Hmm.
2014 or something like that, but it just it wasn't giving me the results I wanted, and I mostly just I enjoy paper and pen, and it
Yeah.
kind of brings me back to when I was a kid drawing, and um, so there is a little bit of a nostalgia to it also that's always there. Like it brings me back to um, the more innocent, just drawing for pure joy, and oh hey, I like the X-Men cartoons, so I'm going to draw Wolverine and with crayons, and for no reason other than I wanted to, and no one's going to see it. And so drawing on paper always in some way uh, is connected to that.
Yeah. And I think again another artist who your even maybe your level of detail kind of reminds me of is Jeremy Bastain, who did
Oh
Cursed
yeah,
Pirate
yeah,
Girl.
yeah, yeah. I'm familiar with his work.
Yeah.
I think I'd say he's way more detailed than me. I mean, he definitely puts more lines, and it's. I mean, I love his work, but yeah.
Mhm. So, uh, you currently have a Patreon, and you also have your own YouTube channel where you just kind of, you know, draw and let people, people can see your process.
Yeah, I started with it, and then I kind of, um, I don't know, I just kind of got embarrassed of videos of me talking, or I don't know what happened, but I was doing it for not that long, and
Mhm.
then I just kind of regretted it instantly. So now I don't really do it. I do it on my Patreon now.
Mhm.
So it's like I don't really love doing this actually, and um, I've actually been kind of slacking on that to be honest. I need to do some more of those, but yeah, I do it here and there. So
Mhm.
if people want to check that out, if that sounds like something they'd be interested in, they can go to my Patreon. I believe it's Matt draw or patreon.com/Matt draws comics.
Mhm.
And it's I think it's $5 a month. And then any video that I've done, you get access to all of those. So if you're willing to pay, you can see how embarrassing I am to myself. And yeah,
Well, no, I think you used to also draw on do it like
Instagram Live.
Instagram feeds. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I would hey, I would sit and watch it. It was very calming for me.
Well, thanks. I wish I still had the confidence to do that. I don't know what it is. As the years go on, I feel like I lose confidence. Like I just,
Mhm.
like I used to be able to do that, and then I was doing the videos and regretted that, and now I'm not wanting to do any of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe
Well,
I'll get the spark again, and I'll start up.
you
Hey,
got to kind of do what makes you, what works for you.
yeah, I think if
Now,
no one's watching,
now,
uh, I can really tap into a level of creativity that I can't if I know someone's watching. Like I don't know what that is, but like if I know I have an audience of any kind, if it's one person, I'm like, oh no, they're criticizing me, or they're seeing, you know, I'm being watched.
mhm.
Whereas if no one's looking at me, I'm completely free and I'm not thinking about anything but that. So
And I see that you have. I think you just the other day, you have a crimson flower with
yes,
Matt Kent.
yep,
Can
that's
you can you kind of give a quick overview about what it's about, and
okay. I'll do my best. I'm not the best with summing things
it's
up, but okay. So if I had to put it in my own words, it is. I'm going to try not give too much away, but it's basically this character who, when she was a little girl, her father was killed, but she didn't see who it
Mhm.
was. Um, well, she did witness it, but she couldn't. Um, and obviously, when you're a kid, you don't remember everything in detail. But essentially, it opens up on that. You see um, what happens to, which is obviously really traumatic, and that kind of shaped her life. And um, so, to just put it simply, the whole series is her hunting down um, the killer of her father. And but the interesting kind of twist is she, ever since she was a little kid, she would read this fairy tale book, and there's all these stories in there. But she's also taking these drugs to cope with everything, and it's also part of her job because she's selling the drugs, which are pharmaceuticals. But when she takes them secretly, she's seeing fairy tale visions, and it's kind of distorting the world that she's living in. So she's using fairy tale stories to cope with her past and what she's doing currently. So, and it takes place in Russia, so it's like Russian hitmen and retired killers. That's part of what's going on.
And is this
Yeah, I think that's probably as much as I can say without giving
oh, sure,
anything
no,
else
definitely.
away.
Is this an ongoing, or is it like a limited series, or
4 issue
4 issue?
4 issue limited series. Yeah.
And so you're doing the interiors too?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just doing the ink and hand
Okay.
lettering.
Oh,
Well,
that
drawing, I'm doing all
yeah.
the drawing part.
Oh, okay.
Penciling and inking, I mean.
Yeah. So, is there anything else? I mean, you're working on that perhaps you can talk about? Because if there's something you don't want to talk about, I'm not it's up to you what you want to disclose or
I should
whatever.
also mention Static is you can see that on my Instagram too. It's that's a graphic novel I did. That's coming out in April of next year. Crimson Flower, that'll be out in January. This is kind of like the follow-up to The Freak, because it's the next thing that I did the writing and drawing for. They're not tied to one another in any way, but it's if you want more of my writing and drawing, this would probably interest you. But so I should probably give a little bit of an overview of this one. It's definitely weird. Hard to put into words. Let me think. Well, the basic core idea for the character is it's somebody who, after years of kind of living with almost deja vu, not literally, but like every day just being the same, and it's like a living hell, and the character doesn't know how to escape it. That's kind of the main idea behind the story. Hence the title Static, because it's a character who doesn't change. And every story usually is around a character who does change. That's the whole point. But that's kind of the conflict with this character, is that I'll try to give away some of it without ruining it, but he's like this not a hitman, but almost like a bounty hunter for these creatures. It's like a sci-fi world.
Yeah.
And every day he just does that, and he gets torn up by these creatures, and but this isn't the life that he expected for himself. Time just sort of passed, and then he looked around and realized, like, why is this my life? Like, this isn't what I expected. I don't know what I did expect, but I know this isn't it, and I have no idea. All this time has passed. If I start over now, I'm just starting from scratch, so he's dealing with these internal issues, and eventually he unknowingly causes something that finally does change, and then it creates just this domino effect of chaotic events, and it's a lot of like gunfire, like I said, creatures, there's violent drug gang, so yeah, that's a pretty good summary without giving too much away.
Sure.
There's more too, but I don't want to ruin the surprise.
And where can people find you're on Twitter and you're on Instagram? You're Matt draws comics on both of them, correct?
Matt draws comics on Instagram, and then Twitter is just my name. So
Okay.
I guess it'll be in the title, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll include if you're looking to follow him, look down there.
Yeah. Yeah. No one's gonna
um,
know how to spell it offhand. So
yeah. Hey, I just learned how to pronounce it tonight.
I don't expect anyone to know. So
But yeah, I mean, anytime
oh, I think you just got muted.
I don't know why my microphone keeps shutting off.
That's okay.
So, but yeah, you're welcome back anytime that you'd like to come back and talk, or you can just listen to me. I don't geek out over your different Instagram posts.
Well, thanks for the open invite. I appreciate it. And thanks for having me on here.
Well, yeah, anytime. And are you staying safe with everything that's going on?
Yeah, yeah. I'm mostly inside, so everything's fine so far. Hopefully,
Yeah,
2020
same here.
or 2021 is a little better than this year. A little less weird. How about you?
Oh, I've been working from home since March, so
Yeah,
I enjoy it.
yeah.
Well, again, I want to thank you for taking the time this evening to talk,
No,
and
thank you.
it's great to finally talk. Get a chance to talk with you. Again, I think the last time we talked was back in 2017 at the Electric City Comic Con.
Yeah, it's been a good 3 year stretch. Hopefully, there'll be some more conventions next year.
Yeah,
I'm
conventions. I
hoping.
remember those.
Yeah, I miss them. I miss
Yeah.
conventions.
All right. Well, again, thanks for chatting, and stay safe and stay healthy.
All right, thanks. You too.
Okay. All right.
Good talking
Catch
to
you
you.
later. Yep.
Bye.